Hello, ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Get 'em Girl, a girl's guide to relationships, femininity, dating, polarity, and attraction. Okay, ladies, so today we're going to talk about reinventing yourself. Okay, I really want to get into this because so many of us are on this feminine journey, right? And we're trying to find ways to add to what we have or change certain things about ourselves, and we want to be the best version of ourselves, right? And so in this video, I kind of want to just hit the tip of the iceberg of what reinventing yourself is, what it's going to take, what it's going to really require from you, because it's going to be a journey. You're not going to just slap on a whole new look and a whole new personality and go. It's going to take work. Okay, I want to give you a direction to work in, because as much as we want to talk about the men in our lives and finding one and all of these different things, we have to realize that what we find, what we attract and entertain will be a direct reflection of us. And so in that, you should want to be the best version of yourself and then find the man, because the better version of yourself that you create is going to attract the better version of a man that you can have. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you with that. Whatever you entertain is a reflection of you. So why not make that reflection the best you can? Okay, so diving into it, the first thing, which is also the hardest thing for a lot of people in general, but the first thing you're going to have to do is let go of the past. And I know that sounds easier said than done, but what I'm going to tell you, ladies, is if you are trying to walk into a new chapter holding baggage and mindsets and hurts from the past, you're going to realize you're going to drag that into every single little thing that you do, and the change can only go so far when you do that. And so my question to you is, when do you decide to let those past hurts go? When do you decide to let that past horrible relationship go? When do you decide to let that past ex go? When do you decide to let go of these things that haunt your thoughts and get into your mind and make you believe that there is not any good men around, that make you believe that you can only be so good, that make you believe that you're not worth this, that make you believe that you have to operate in this closed way where you can't be free and flow and be feminine? When are you going to let that go? And so a lot of letting go of the past also deals with a lot of forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of other people, forgiveness to the situations that occurred to you. And that's going to take a deep dive, ladies. I'm going to be so honest with you, because it is not easy work to forgive a person who didn't even ask for forgiveness in the first place. It's not easy to let go of situations that were so traumatic in your life that it filled all of your mental space. It's not easy to let those things go. But what I'm going to tell you is it's going to free you up for the real change that you're looking for. It's going to free you up so that instead of holding on to this old thing, I can now grasp a hold of new things, new habits, new people, new social circles, new mindsets, new ways of thinking, because I'm not holding on to this past thing that happened back then. I'm free to accept and be open to the new things that are going to come into my life. And so your first step in reinventing yourself is letting go and forgiving. And I know for me personally, that's a God thing. That's something that I had to work on. And even today, I have to work on it because it's a journey. But how I forgive and how I move on past things make it easier for me to grasp on to the new things. So what are you going to do to let go of those things? How are you going to move forward and drop that and realize that until you drop it, it's going to be hard to grab up anything else? How are you going to do that? And so the first step in reinventing yourself is, even if you have to sit down, and this is a personal practice, and here's the thing, it's not going to work for all ladies, okay? But I pray that it does. But to me personally, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write these things, these instances, these people, these situations that I have not quite gotten past. And for me personally, I pray for a forgiving spirit over these things. I have to make myself do that. It's not something I naturally want to do, but I have to make myself get past it, because until I let go of that, I can't plant new seed. If I have a handful of seeds that have expired in my palms, and I'm steady trying to grab up these new seeds so I can plant them, you know what happens? As I'm going to plant, well, while I'm holding on to the new seeds and the old seeds, there's a mix happening. And so whatever I plant, there's some expired in there. There's some old things in there. There's some seeds that won't produce any kind of fruit in there. There's all these old things in there mixed in with the good seed. So I need to be able to drop all of that old stuff, let it go, drop it off to the wayside so that I can pick up the new. And so that's going to be your first step, honestly, in reinventing yourself. And it's not going to be easy, especially if you are one of the ladies who have dealt with past abuse and past traumatic experiences that kind of had you stuck for a while. You have to make a decision to get unstuck. It's a decision, ladies. It's not something that you wake up and you just feel all of a sudden. It's a decision to get unstuck. And that is going to be your first step in reinventing yourself. You need to sit down and you need to figure out whatever works for you so that you can move past this thing. And this is something that I work with the ladies with in coaching, because everyone's process is different, but you gotta move past it. If you're going to get a new thing, if you're going to get the man you never had, if you're going to have the relationship you never had, if you're going to have the life that you've never experienced before, the friends, the lifestyle, the person, any of that, if you're going to have something that you've never had, you're going to have to operate in the way that you haven't in the past. You're going to have to do that. And so once you've let go of those negative things and all those past traumas and hurts, I need you to then start to identify the positive things that you have within you right now. What are the habits that you have right now? What are the skills you have right now? What is the communication style you have right now? What is it about you right now that actually lines up with this person that you want to be? I need you to take note of that, because this is going to be a foundational thing. As we're letting go of the negative things, we're going to identify the positive things that we already have, because of those positive things, we're going to use it as a foundation to build on top of. So it's not like you have to throw all of you away. If there are things about you right now that work for you, there is no need to change them. So what I'm going to tell you is those positive things about yourself, take note of those. Literally sit down and write down what those are, because you have things about you right now that can be built on. This new life, these new habits, these new things that you're going to be encountering, they can be built on some of the good that you already have for yourself. You don't have to start at zero, because you are not all bad. You are not all masculine. You are not all horrible. Like, you're not all of that. There is something good about you that I want you to identify for yourself, put it on paper, and realize that this is something that I do want to carry, because this is actually good seed. I want to carry this into the new person that I am, because I'm actually good at this. I actually excel at this. This is actually a part of my femininity that I can control right now, and I haven't even done the work. Keep those things in mind. And then of those good things, we're going to use this time frame as a time frame to amplify those. So say you are an amazing communicator and you're like, I need to work on my femininity, but in my communication, in my style of communication, I'm actually really, really good. When I talk to people, they get it. When I talk to people, they understand where I'm coming from, and I'm very good at getting my point across in a feminine way. If that's something that works for you right now, then what I'm going to tell you is, as you're reinventing yourself, build on it. Build on it. Put yourself in more situations where that part of you flourishes. Put yourself in more social situations. Put yourself around people to where you can have more conversation and let that more feminine side of yourself grow. Put yourself in situations where you get to utilize that more and more and more in your daily life, because as you're growing that, and as that aspect of your femininity is growing, so will other parts of your life, because anything we do, you don't just affect one part of your life when you do it. It touches everything. And so if there's already this feminine aspect that you carry really well, amplify it. Turn it up to the 10th level. I need you to turn it all the way up. Okay, because that's something that's going to start to touch other aspects of your life. And then we're going to grow in our femininity in those aspects too. We're going to grow in it. Do you get what I'm saying? So now, for example, if you're a person who has great communication and now you are putting yourself in more social situations, now you're going to put yourself in more situations where you have to dress up and get yourself together. Now you have to put yourself in more situations where you're dealing with a lot of different personalities and you have to still practice your openness even in those situations. Now you're putting yourself in a position to where you're encountering men, masculine men, and you have to understand flow of conversation to them and what they receive. Do you understand how I'm saying we use the aspect of femininity that we already know and we grow it so that it touches other things? Because as you naturally let it grow, as you naturally amplify what you already do, those other things that touch it, they naturally grow too. Because I want this to be a natural process for y'all. Why? Because if I tell you to just up and change everything about yourself, it's going to be a costume, it's going to be a mask, and you're not going to be able to keep it on. I need you to grow the things that are true about yourself and that are actually leading into your feminine journey, so that that thing starts to touch the other aspects of your femininity. That's what I need you to do. And at this point, now you need to start evaluating really environment, because here's the thing. All environments are not suitable for feminine women. That's the kicker. So as you're growing in your femininity and you're amplifying these aspects of yourself and they're starting to touch other things in your femininity and that's starting to grow, you're going to have to be very particular about the areas that you even allow yourself to be in. Now you're going to have to be in areas where people understand it. You're going to have to be in areas where it's safe, where you can freely show your femininity and you don't have to worry about any fallout, any stress that can come from that, which means your social circles. If you are around friends, if you have people in your life day to day that are the complete opposite of what you're working towards, you're going to have to limit that, because you don't want to be trying to practice this freely in front of people who won't get it, because all it will do is diminish your confidence around it and you'll end up reverting back. You have to be very careful about that. And so put yourself in situations with other women who are like-minded. Put yourself in situations, in relationships, and in dating men who get feminine women, who want feminine women. Put yourself in those situations and completely dismiss anything that is the opposite. And when I say dismiss, that means you're not sitting at a table arguing with a man about 50-50. That's something you dismiss. Okay, you dismiss that and you go on about your way. You're not sitting at a table with women and they're like, why you all of a sudden want to wear dresses? Why you all of a sudden, why are you communicating like this? Why you don't want to turn up? Why you don't want... If you put yourself in those situations, I want you to realize that it's nothing but a boundary to your femininity. Get into environments that actually allow your femininity to flourish, where it feels safe to be feminine, where you can openly practice that and it's understood. Do you get what I'm saying, ladies? You have to start to be more selective about where people get access to you, how people get access to you, what environments you allow yourself to access. You have to start to be careful about those things. And as that starts to amplify, guess what? The kind of people that you meet will also be different. The standard in their morals and the way they carry themselves will be completely different. The kind of men you'll start meeting will be completely different. Are y'all starting to get why we build on the things that we already have? Because it starts to touch other things. Like, you don't have to do it from scratch. You don't have to just up and boom. Hey, I'm going to start going here. I'm going to start doing this. And it's out of nowhere. You can let the things that you already possess, those things about yourself that are already feminine, those things about yourself that are already geared towards the person you want to be, start to touch those other areas in your life, and it will spread. So now, because you're a good communicator, you're in more social situations, you're dressing better. Now you're meeting people who hold themselves in a certain regard. Now you're meeting men who hold themselves in a certain regard. Now you're having conversations and you're understanding flow of conversations with those men. Who's to say a relationship doesn't come from that? Do you get where I'm coming from, ladies? How you let these things start to touch the other things instead of having to up and completely just change everything about your life and it becomes something that doesn't even feel like you? Do you get where I'm coming from? You grow into it. It's a journey. You don't just up and decide to do it one day. You grow into these things. And with that, now it's time to reflect again, because reflection is always going to be a part of your journey. Now, so as these things are growing, okay, what are the places that I'm going to? What kind of people am I talking to? Start to take inventory of what you're doing as these things are growing, because from that, you're going to create your routine. Well, I've noticed that when I'm wanting to communicate more and I'm trying to use more feminine language, when I'm in these spots and when I go to this coffee shop and when I'm in this area, I tend to get this kind of result. I'm going to build that into this routine. Okay, well, when I go to the grocery store, I've noticed that with me being in my femininity, I'm not about to be climbing on shelves for things. And so when I go to this area and I go grocery shopping, I actually get a lot of help. I can ask someone and they'll grab it for me. They're a lot nicer. Okay, let me build that into my routine. I'm going to start grocery shopping in this area. Okay, do you start to get where I'm coming from, ladies? Okay, and when it's time for me to socialize and I want to practice my communication and my feminine language, I went to these spots and I've noticed that when I'm there, I get a lot better reaction. There's people who can understand what I'm saying. There's better flow of conversation. I'm going to build that into my routine. So now you're building a routine off of things that are proven and things that work. And then you practice the routine, ladies. Then you work the routine. Then you do those things and let it continue to amplify. So you don't have to up and completely change everything. And for some people that may work, and I'm not going to discount that, but for most of us, when we grow into something, we're more likely to keep the habit. We're more likely to keep the routine when we allow ourselves to start fixing an aspect that we already have, allowing it to touch other things, and then allowing it to shape our routines and our habits. So now you have this whole routine that day to day, week by week, you can exercise, because as you were growing these aspects of your femininity, it led you into other situations, other events, other places where you can socialize, other people that you've met. And especially if you're meeting people who are like-minded and they also have their routines, now you're picking up things from their routines and adding them to yours as they fit. Now you're creating a new you. Now you're creating the better version of you, that newer life that you want to have, that better thing. And the better and better you allow yourself to grow into this, the better you will attract. For one, you'll start to attract better. That doesn't mean that you'll stop attracting other things that from the past, but you'll start to attract better things. But here's the kicker: because you yourself are better, you're going to actually choose the better thing. You're going to actually be able to identify the better thing and choose it. You're actually going to be able to see that it's a good thing, see that it's better than something that you've ever had before. And then you're going to actually know how to operate with it and maintain it and keep it. That's whether it's friends, a relationship, your lifestyle, finances. You're going to start to be able to identify those things and gravitate to them and maintain them, because you didn't just up and make a decision and try to change everything in your life at once. No, you allowed yourself to grow into it, which means you're mentally ready for it. You're emotionally ready for it. You went through the hiccups of the practice to try to get there. You know how to overcome those hiccups. You've grown into this new person. You didn't just up and decide to be someone else. Do you get what I'm saying, ladies? And so anytime I'm talking to women about their feminine journey, anytime I'm coaching on the feminine journey, it's not, hey, change everything that you're wearing, change everywhere that you go, change your conversation right off the bat. No, we grow into those things and we start to let them exponentially grow. We start to let one aspect touch another, and because of that, it leads to this, and that now leads to another growth aspect that we're working. We let it naturally grow, ladies, and before you know it, you look around and you're like, I really created the life that I want. I really have the tools I need to attract what I want in my life, and then not only attract it, but get it, recognize it, and maintain it. That's how you reinvent yourself. That's how you make sure that femininity is not a mask or a costume that you put on during certain times or only when you're feeling good. But that's how you make sure it's something that is a part of you. It's actually you. That's how you do it. So this is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg. I really want, there's so much deep diving you can do into each one of those little tips, but I want to give it to you in bulk. And then if you ladies are interested, let me know in the comments and we can really deep dive into some of these topics, okay? But once again, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much for the engagement, and I will see y'all on the next episode of Get 'em Girl. Bye.